Hi, I'm Tom Buck. I'm the Managing Director and owner of the Calder Group, which incorporates Calder Finance Midlands Limited and Calder Succession, with an IFA firm based here in Derbyshire in the East Midlands. We provide usual IFA services, but we also do a lot of in-house estate planning, wills, trusts and bits and pieces.
Excellent. All right. Thanks for jumping on with this today, Tom. We've been working together now for probably 4 or 5 months or so at this stage, kind of through the jaws of the COVID-19 pandemic, as we well know. What kind of problems or challenges did you have in your business when we were originally speaking?
I think it's the problem a lot of businesses have and a lot of IFAs have. It's trying to get the right clients to work with where we can add real value to what they're doing. For us specifically, we like to work with family businesses where the family want to pass that business on to the next generation, but they want to build some family wealth. They want to make sure that, mum and dad, when they hand it over, aren't going to have to draw on that business too much, because it just adds pressure. The more family members are drawing, obviously the harder it becomes. And it's the difficulty of actually finding those clients, engaging with them. The traditional routes are through accountancy firms, through solicitors, through professional connections. The issue you've got there is potentially a conflict of interest between the professional introducer and ourselves, and also a little bit of an element of who's in control of what and who's allowed to do what and who's allowed to say what. And so we were in that position of we weren't growing as a business fast enough. We knew the problem we had, which was getting the right clients, but not having the expertise, the time and the knowledge to actually go and find a way of marketing and do it in-house.
If I remember correctly, I think you were maybe looking and testing different channels. You really kind of had your thinking cap on at the time in terms of, okay, how can we do this differently? There's got to be a better way to look at this. I think you had tested a few sort of different avenues potentially at that stage, had you? So, some positive, some not so positive, I think, if I remember correctly. Do you want to tell us a bit about that?
We tried a couple of marketing companies who have been referred to us previously, and we had a rebrand which looked good, but a rebrand is useless if you don't know then what to do with that brand. And I think the problem was no one really knew what to do in terms of contacting people. So we tried local seminars, we tried bits and pieces, we were putting out content on LinkedIn and Facebook, but there was, shall we say, a lack of understanding from the marketing companies about what we did and who we were trying to connect with and the message we wanted to get across. And also from our point of view, a bit of frustration that we kept talking, but that marketing company had their own way of doing it. So we had a few people connecting on LinkedIn, a few people talking to us. We had the frustration of one company who put us in touch with a lot of will writers, which was fantastic, but that's part of what we do in-house. So it was almost a case of, why are we talking to people who can't really help and will just come along and go, well, we would now like to sell our services to your client bank, rather than us talking to clients who need proper joined up thinking. So we tried a bit, we'd burnt a bit of money, and really I think it's fair to say we were sort of spinning around in a vortex of confusion and huge disappointment.
Right. Yeah. And I remember one of our first conversations, we talked about a lot of this, and it's interesting. I think you wanted to understand the marketing strategies and you wanted to understand what was possible, but I think you were a little bit maybe skeptical at the time, having been burnt a little bit and having had a few things not work. Would that be about right? Yeah.
That would be absolutely spot on. There was an element there of yet another marketing company with respect ball coming along saying, we can do this, we can do this. And to be honest, I think what I learned was that initial, okay, so tell me how you're going to do it step by step, how it works, what input you need from us, when you need it from us, and evidence that this isn't just another, we want to work with you, and the old, right, hopefully this will happen for you if we throw enough mud at the wall and some of it sticks. I wanted to see a process that I could put faith in.
And look, there's a leap of faith in doing any form of marketing, as you know, and so much. We obviously discussed it with you, went through the steps and went through everything, but you had to kind of, I suppose, suspend your disbelief a little bit, if you like. What made you think that maybe LinkedIn was a good channel for you guys to look closely at?
I think the fact that you look at the evidence of LinkedIn generally, it's clearly where our market was sitting.
Mm-hmm.
It's where business people go. It's not Facebook where you've got people just flicking through for the fun of it. It's not Instagram where you've got the same thing going on. You've actually got people who are using LinkedIn to promote their businesses, make people aware of where they are, and a great way of communicating. It was just, I suppose it's that question mark of, it's the time, it's knowledge of how to utilize LinkedIn correctly, and make sure that you're getting the right message out to people, that they understand what you're doing. And at the same time, it was interesting talking to someone yesterday, they get bombarded with a lot of spam messages through LinkedIn, and it's instantly, hi, I'm an accountant, I would love to work with you. And it was interesting that your approach was very much gentle. I'll use the word selling the personality of myself and the brand, but actually trying to build over a period of time a relationship with people, rather than that horrible, hi, noticed you on LinkedIn, love your profile, I would love to work with you, boom, 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 and this is everything we do. It became very much a sort of, look, we're here, we're interested to know more about your business, this is who we are, and just, it's more of a conversation, but it's a controlled conversation, which is something I like.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Our attitude is always get the positioning right, and allow people to kind of put up their hand rather than beat them on the head with a sledgehammer, which is what most other people do, So that's kind of the difference. So how was the process then of coming on board with ourselves at the time? Do you recall?
It was fine. The interesting bit was really trying to come away from everything other marketing companies had said, which is tell us what you sell, tell us what you do, to very much trying to get a softer message of this is who we are, this is how we work, these are the kind of things we help our clients achieve. So moving away from a product discussion to a service discussion. I always thought I had that down, but obviously I didn't, because I couldn't communicate it in a way. And I know you pinged a couple back saying, yeah, that's great, Tom, but you're selling, please stop it. We're not interested in sales here, we're interested in you, interested in a message. And of course the biggest thing was what we're doing now, that video content. I've been told by several people, small businesses don't do video, no, video is a bad thing, you shouldn't be doing it. And then you've been told by others, go and do it. But then there's the application of it and trying to get a message through it, which I think it's fair to say the first couple I did, you were kind of generous in saying that's not bad. However, so I think it was just that change of thought process to how can we help people, what message can we get across that just provides information, and if people don't use us, they can still take away and go, that was worth knowing. Let's implicate it or let's implement it into our business and into our lifestyle.
So what if I recall what we talked about at the time was, okay, we need to put together some good quality content. And you said you were open to looking at doing video, which is great. And I was telling you that obviously 98% of advisors don't do video. They just won't do it. So therefore, it's a great way to position yourself in the marketplace as somebody different. And as you said, your first few videos, you did your best, but maybe you had to. I think
generous. Thank you, Paul.
Yeah, I think you had to. Like with anything, the first time you do it, of course, it's not going to be perfect. But I think you kept at it, you improved, you raised your game, you maybe got slightly better sort of equipment and you thought about it a little bit more, and so on. Like what happened then? I mean, like maybe if for an advisor listening who's thinking, maybe I should do video, like what advice would you give them? Because you've obviously kind of been to the learning curve a little bit on this one.
Yeah, I think it's one, just do it. I think there's a huge element of we don't want to look silly, we don't want to look foolish. There's a little bit of, well, if I stick my head above the parapet, I'm going to get shot down. And yes, you are.
Yeah.
I must admit the process we've gone through the last 4 or 5 months, I think I said to you before, I've not been rejected quite so often as before I met my wife and was trying to meet women. It's been a wonderful thing for the ego.
Nice.
But it's having that confidence of saying, like, what message do you want to get across? Be concise, but also be yourself. I did have a look at other IFAs videos, and you've got people there in wonderful suits, wonderful ties going, we would like to talk to you about, rather than just relaxing, being themselves. And actually that's the kind of response we're now getting from clients and prospective clients, that the video is really good. We like you as a person. We love the personality come through. Very concise, love the information. And we've had 2 or 3 from that who've just come straight into, we want to talk. And that's been really powerful. So yeah, know what you're going to say, be yourself, and just go for it, and don't worry.
And what kind of an impact do you think the video has had on your overall process? I mean, obviously we've been running the campaign and putting the right message in front of the right people, but we've been using video as the tool to assist with that. Yeah. So what impact do you think it had? I mean, of course we could have used articles or something else, but in this case we've used video. And do you think it's made the difference?
I think it has, because we're talking about people's finances here, and trust is the biggest thing in that. And interestingly, we're talking to a potential client at the moment, and there's things we can do for them who's come from London. Not normally a connection to Derby, but they've come to London partly because they saw we've now put, I think, about 30 or 40 videos on our YouTube channel. We send videos out weekly now to clients with a newsletter, but just videos talking about anything from HR matters, COVID issues, investments, options we think they should be thinking about, all those areas. And actually the engagement is just phenomenal, because it's not us. And that potential client in London, their comment was, it was nice to see something that hasn't come from a standard place, from a Shutterstock, lots of drawing. I've got this bloke talking to me on video, having a laugh. And when I make a mistake on video, I try to be perfect, I think, in those first ones. And now I've learned, if I make a mistake, my normal character is to make a joke of it, have a laugh, and then carry on. And that's what I now do on video. So we don't play around with lots of clever editing. We don't try and make it flashy. This is who we are. This is how we work. And this is me.
Yeah, I mean, there's an honesty to that as well, man. I think people relate to that honesty, and as you said, that's what allows you to build some great trust. And I think in your case, I think videos really worked very well for that trust element. I think you know that. I think not just with prospective clients, but obviously with current clients as well, your referrals, and equally, I think you were telling me about introducer partners that were getting involved and so on as well. So on that, so how has the campaign gone? How has it performed overall?
Well, I think it's fair to say we picked the perfect year and the perfect time to do it. Just as the UK went into lockdown, it's the perfect time to be going, please come and talk to us, we'd like to meet. But again, that's something you and I talked about, and it's interesting that actually just knowing that we've got, I think, about 35 or 40 people who've now gone, yes, we would like to talk. Okay, during COVID, a lot said, but not now. Can we talk at a later date, Tom? And we've just kept a communication going with them. We're still talking, and every so often we ping a message saying, you said you wanted to talk when COVID's over. Obviously it's taking longer. Is it something you want to talk about now? But yeah, it's been quite interesting. There was that initial period where you sort of sit there going, well, is this ever going to happen? Are we ever going to get any business off it? But now, sort of 4 or 5 months down the line, I think I said our pipeline is up to about £70,000 worth of potential business now. We've got 2/3 introducers who've come via the connections. I think we're up to 2,200, 2,500 connections now, which is phenomenal because they're all people of the right ilk. And we've even had some who said, look, I've just done something with another financial advisor. I'm going to keep your details. Be nice to keep in contact. I'll bear in mind you for next time. So it's given us that audience to talk to, and all we need is sort of a 1% connection rate with people who do something with us in a year, and the business has changed phenomenally. So it's
so just to clarify, so over the last 4 or 5 months, sort of on the back of that, you've obviously increased your connections quite considerably on LinkedIn.
Yep.
You've engaged with and now have 2 or 3 more professional introducers like accountants and so on that are sending you business, and that you can attribute £70,000 of year one actual revenue directly to the campaign. Is that correct?
Yeah, some of it has come from, or some of that 70,000 is actually existing clients, but there's the videos that I wouldn't have done without the campaign has sort of triggered them to go, okay, we want to talk about that. We've got a few referrals from people who've been able to say, actually, I didn't know you did that. My friend would like to talk to you about that.
Perfect.
So yeah, even the bit that I can say, well, it's not come directly from the campaign, it's come from the actions I've been taking that I wouldn't have taken if it hadn't been for the campaign.
Excellent. And it's great to see, you know, the evolution of your business. I mean, it's only really been 4 or 5 months, and yes, we had lockdown and all sort of stuff, but you know, I can see you now operating at a different level, not just from a marketing point of view, but just sort of how strategically you run your business, and how, as you say, even just saying that we're sending weekly videos and newsletters, you weren't doing that 5 months ago. That was just an idea, you know, whereas now you're really on top of that. Do you think that's completely changed how you run your business and how you'll run your business going forward?
It has, yes, because like you say, there's that element of, I think, almost a bit of complacency in the financial advice world, that we say, oh, we send out a newsletter every so often, we do this, we see our clients regularly. I met one who didn't have a service proposition at all, but his clients knew where he was. And actually, what you need is that continual contact. And the more personal you can make it, the more appropriate you can make it. I mean, I even got a client I spoke to this week who, when we were talking on video, said, oh, how's the running going? Said, great. Yeah. I noticed you were talking about it a couple of weeks ago in your newsletter. So I just wondered, you know, are you still managing to run? Are you still? And actually that personal connection now, it meant he just read it. I don't think in that particular one there was anything of personal interest, but he went, actually, it's great. I'm aware of what you're doing. He's reading. And so, yeah, it has changed the dynamics. You know, I now take time every week to write that newsletter blog and make sure it's there. We talk about videos that need to go with it to make sure that we're getting a consistent message. And we're doing it in such a way. It's quite interesting. I've got quite a few fund managers who go, we can give you a video where we talk about the fund. I've watched a couple of them. They're the most boring videos in the world. I love the fund managers, but when you see the ones they're doing, again, I'm in the industry and I'm falling asleep listening to them and getting confused. It's actually been quite good. We've got a few who've agreed to allow us to continue to do videos like this, where I ask a question that I know or believe my clients want, but phrase it in a way that they understand the answer that comes back. And actually that has brought a real sort of closeness to some clients who are able to quote those videos back at me and say, we noticed you talking to, and they said that. Is that still the case? And actually it adds a bit more depth to the conversations. So even during COVID, we've not been inundated with lots of phone calls from panicked clients because we actually used video quite substantially for about 2-3 months to get messages out there and say, relax, calm down, this is what's happening, this is what we believe will happen next, this is the impact of this is the impact of that. And so it meant from a planning point of view and a business point of view, we know we've been able to touch all of those clients because we get the links and we know the data coming in, and actually our contact with clients has been phenomenal, and it's allowed me to think broader in terms of where the business goes.
Brilliant. Okay. And that at the end of the day is the key, really, isn't it? Our original conversation was that you wanted a more consistent lead pipeline and a more consistent conversation, but also a strategy that you could actually bring to the market and so on. In my mind, it looks like you've achieved that. You know, that's what it looks like to me.
Yeah, absolutely. We're talking to lots of people. We're talking to people who can add value to. And that is a key thing for me. Even the client I spoke to, or potential client I spoke to, I think last week, where I went, actually, my guidance, my initial gut is, we can't help you and actually you're in the best place possible, even that the client said, that's brilliant, thank you very much. And that meant a lot more than I thought it would, because we're doing the right thing by people, we're talking to more people. And he went away going, right, when my circumstances change, Tom, I will phone you.
Yeah.
And again, that's just a wonderful feeling to have, that I wasn't having those conversations 5 months ago.
Right. So you're essentially adding a lot more value.
Yeah, we've concentrated on how can we add more value, and because the clients are coming in a way that we're in control of, it means I can have conversations, go into more depth, and not worry about treading on anyone's feet. And really that's they're sort of taking the shackles off a little bit and allow me to do what I've always wanted to do, which is provide holistic, full advice to clients. Ignore the products. Advice is the key element, and yeah, the conversations we're having, it's wonderful because that's what we're doing.
Excellent. And would you have any sort of tips or advice for other advisors who are considering, potentially running a LinkedIn campaign, or, looking at how they can strategically, grow their business or tweak their marketing strategy? Would you have any advice for them?
I think there's an element of, one, unless you've got a lot of time and unless you've got a lot of expertise, don't try and do it in-house. That's the first thing. I don't think we could have got anywhere near the results if we tried it. It would have just fallen down. I think, two, know your audience. LinkedIn is full of lots and lots of people, and it's full of lots and lots of noise. Be very, very specific about who you're after, who you think you can help, and what your market is. Again, I think I've come across so many IFAs who they do everything. I think the GP days are pretty much going now. You've got to be a specialist in an area. So that's why we're talking to the business owners, talking about succession, and everything flows from that. And I think also give it time. It's interesting. We have continued to do a lot of marketing through the last 4 or 5 months. The videos and everything, and there have been points where we've gone, is this ever going to produce a client? Is this ever going to produce revenue? And I would almost say ignore that part of the conversation. This is a long-term game. It's a long-term about selling yourself and how you can help above all else. And if you help the right people, put the right messages out there, the money side will take care of itself, as we're now starting to see. And it's just patience and consistency of actions and message. So yeah, know who your market is. Don't try and do it in-house unless you've got someone who can just spend all day, every day doing it, and make sure it looks as real as possible, and you're not sat behind a desk twiddling your thumbs or trying to be the professional image. Just be completely honest about who you are.
Yeah, be real with people.
Absolutely.
Be real. And how do you see things sort of going forward for you? I mean, obviously a lot of work's been put into the pipeline and the targeting and the video and so on. Do you see a good, strong pipeline still going forward in terms of clients? I know you're kind of working through them a bit yourself at the moment, aren't you? Yeah.
We've had to pause the connection side of it, purely because we got to a point where we were getting that much coming through that actually we were in danger of damaging our reputation and damaging the message before we could get there and talk to people. So we've deliberately sort of gone, right, we need to put a break on this, and we're going through the people who said we do want to talk, not now, because it's very easy to do this, find you've got wonderful 50 people to talk to. I didn't talk to him. I haven't spoken to him for 12 months now. So have I missed the opportunity to help? Is there business that we've lost? So I think there's that element of, we're doing quite a bit of work now over the next 3 or 4 weeks, just making sure we have continued to connect with people, talking to them, updating, so we can refresh that list and go, actually, these have dropped out, these now want a meeting, and these want talking to in another 3 months. So yeah, it's good to know we're having those conversations, and just having those conversations makes me confident that the business will be fine through COVID up till March, which we've got in the UK, or maybe Christmas, who knows. But it's that knowledge that we're talking to people, talk to the right people, talk to enough of the right people, and the business side just takes care of itself, which is a great position to be in.
It's a brilliant position to be in, exactly. And would you recommend our services to other advisors who are on the fence or thinking about growing their business?
No, because I want to be cheeky and keep you to myself, Paul. So absolutely not. But no, yeah, definitely. There's a lot of people marketing or marketers who I've spoken to who suddenly go, just explain to me financial services. How does this work? They don't understand about compliance. We've had none of that issue with yourself, and yeah, you've made it easy to do. And also, what's been good is the conversations we have had on a sort of Friday afternoon on the phone, where I wouldn't say I've needed a bit of hand holding, but I've been able to say, Paul, I'm a bit concerned about this, or Paul, that's happened, and actually that's been really good. The fact that you've not just told me, oh, don't worry, it'll all be fine. We've talked through those issues, and it's been a real collaboration in getting us to this point.
Excellent. All right, and you should take a lot of credit, as I said, your attitude and how you've approached it with video and so on has really, I think it's really changed the game. I think you've actually surprised yourself. I think when you originally started doing video, I think you were sort of like, okay, video, I'll dip my toe in the water, and now you're the video king doing videos every week.
Absolutely, I'm a YouTube influencer. I'm going to go on TikTok next if Donald Trump will allow me. You name it, I'm taking the world. But yeah, I think we've all got that. Ooh, I don't want to do that. It's me, and what are people going to think? And actually, I've quite enjoyed it. Even the people who've said no to our services and no, we don't want to interact with you, actually, they've been really polite about it. And the number of wonderful comments we've had about the video and the information provided has really surprised me. So, I'm going to take over the world. I'll be the next YouTube millionaire, hopefully.
Thanks, Tom. Thanks for jumping on today. I really appreciate it. Okay.
All right, Paul. Nice to talk to you again, and take care. Looking forward to carry on working for a foreseeable future.
Great. Thanks, buddy.